I'm 5'3", 115 pounds, so I guess I'm pretty small. That's my reasoning for being very submissive over all of this. When I started working at this fast food chain, I was 16. It was my first job, and I was excited to finally take my first steps into adulthood. This coworker of mine was training me. For privacy purposes, I'm going to call him Frank. Frank, at first glance, looks young, 19, 21 at the most. We got along, and there wasn't anything too bad or alarming. Light conversations about anime and such. I remember things started to change slightly when he was talking about a video game character, and none of our coworkers knew who it was. When I saw the green hat character, I said, "Oh, that's Link. How cute." I used to watch my brother play Legend of Zelda 4 Swords. He looked at me and just said, "Marry me." I laughed it off and continued on with my day. For the rest of my shift, he would hover over me asking me personal questions like my age, favorite things, etc. Being the open, friendly person that I was, I answered happily. I told him how I loved butterflies and that I was 16. I'm 17 now and have had several jobs since. When an older man asks you for your age as a minor, it's never a nice sign. Moving on to December. I've been at this chain for a month now. My manager asked me if I wanted to come to their company's Secret Santa party, and I agreed. When the day came, I arrived with my now ex-boyfriend. Frank arrives on the phone, acting busy and such, but I thought nothing of it. During the whole party, he was on the phone. I was getting food when he tapped my shoulder, still on the phone, and handed me a beautiful butterfly necklace. I didn't know what to say besides thanking him, thinking he was my Secret Santa. Then later, my other coworker came up to me and handed me a gift card for Starbucks and a plush. I asked her why, and she said she was my Secret Santa. I thought it must be a mistake, and went on with my night, listening to my old best friend tell me how I should date Frank, which in my mind was never on the table. January rolls around, and it was Frank's birthday. We were just working until I heard one of my girl coworkers, who was into him at the time, wish him a happy birthday. Being that person, I do the same, while my other coworker asks how old he's turning. He says 27. Might I add that every shift I worked with him, he would take several photos of me before and after my shift, commenting about my hair, my skin, my eyes, often said how cute my nose was. Again, not wanting to cause a scene, I just laugh everything off. That's always the case, isn't it? We don't want to cause a scene. I did start telling him to please stop, but of course he wouldn't, no matter how many times I asked him to. Now I'm going to skip to May, my birthday month, and of course I was working on my birthday. I went to the back door as usual. Due to COVID, I had to ring the doorbell and wait for someone to open the door. Out of nowhere, Frank pops out of the bushes handing me all kinds of gifts. Today was his day off too, so I was generally confused. I remember thinking, how the hell did he know it was my birthday? I never talked about it since I don't like celebrating it. He followed me around for a few minutes before awkwardly leaving when I apologized that I want to get to work and not get yelled at. In July is when I finally found a new job. I quit due to sexual harassment I had to endure for the 9 months I worked there for my shift lead. That's a whole other story, but when a man starts getting handsy, don't laugh it off. Shut that shit down. It got really bad when that ex-best friend that I mentioned earlier started showing all my coworkers, including Frank, and the shift lead explicit photos of me that she stole off my phone without me knowing. I was very insecure at the time and was in an abusive relationship, so I would give anything this boy asked of me. Anyways, at that point I had about had it. After being interrogated about that shift lead, I put in my 2 weeks. On my last week, everyone was talking about how my shift lead got laid off for sexual harassment. Frank and I were doing dishes and the topic came up. I awkwardly told him about it, not knowing how everyone knew my story. The shift lead would often grab my ass, rub my thigh, talk about my boobs, about how, if they were bigger, things he would do to my body. I would say stop politely, but he would continue. When I started yelling and saying stop more assertively, he would often make me do humiliating tasks like clean the greasy floors on my hands and knees or cleaning the dining room when it was closed due to COVID. When I told Frank this, he shrugged it off and said that was no reason for him to be fired. I remember being absolutely shocked, retorting, "I'm just glad I'm leaving this hellhole," and left it at that. A month into my new job as a hostess, everything was going well. It's a restaurant, but everyone just comes here to drink, so it's more of a bar. On one of my 2 a.m. shifts, Frank stops by on his bike. I tried to be friendly, but was getting frustrated when he kept cutting me off from talking to other people. I'd then walk away to bus tables because no one else would do it, and he couldn't follow me into the restaurant. Outdoor seating, of course. After bussing all the tables, I come up to the counter to see my coworker giggling. "What's happening?" I asked. The other hostess smiled. "That's so cute how your boyfriend takes photos of you while you're working. It's so cute how obsessive he is over you. He wouldn't stop talking about you." Boyfriend? I was and still happily remained single after that bullcrap of a relationship. The only person they could be referring to was Frank. Then it dawned on me. How the hell did he know where I was working and my shift schedule? I didn't tell anyone besides my parents and my brother. A week goes by and Frank comes back. I may have gotten a little overdramatic, but I didn't know what else to do. I told the other host at the counter to tell him I'm not working today and dashed inside. I told my manager that this man keeps taking photos of me as I'm working and it's making me uncomfortable. My manager told me to stay in the back room while he went and handled the situation. Our restaurant is very popular in the area, so it's very crowded in the front. Frank, with his bike, was blocking customers, and that's what my manager was telling him. My idiotic ass was popping my head up a little under that back room window where I could see what was going on in the front. I freaked out a little bit when I saw Frank get aggressive with my manager. He begins thrashing when my manager tries to lead him out of the front. Suddenly, Frank throws his bike and tries heading into the building. A few male waiters see what's happening and were informed by my manager. I remember one waiter standing in the back room with me, watching the door as another was practically fighting with Frank. I could only hear yelling outside the door and then it went quiet. I spent the rest of the shift like that, cleaning silverware with that male server. From then on, people would walk me to my car even in broad daylight. From August to November, he would pass by the restaurant from a distance on his bike. He would just sit there and watch and take photos for 10 to 20 minutes before finally leaving. Now the reason I thought of putting this here is it's been a little more intense lately. It hasn't just been looking from a distance. Due to COVID, I'm not needed anymore because my restaurant is takeout only. I'd been working seasonal jobs while working at the restaurant, but now I'm not working at all. Because I was bored this day, I drove to my local mall, just to do a little Christmas shopping. While I'm driving, I glance in the rearview mirror and I see a recognizable face. It was Frank. I practically choke on spit seeing his face in my mirror. I try not to get the best of myself and knock it off as a coincidence. Yeah, it wasn't. He followed me throughout the mall, then later followed me as I was driving home. No one knows where I live, besides that old friend, and I'd like to keep it like that. So I drove for an hour, getting lost and taking every random turn I could until I lost him. I now believe this is how he would track me down. My car isn't common, but it doesn't stand out too much either. I've rarely left my house since then. It's January 2021, and ever since the start of this year, I've been getting phone calls that go like this. Hello? Hello? And then the call just ends. Along with that, I've gotten many random messages asking me about gifts and delivering me gifts. I'm not one who usually uses social media, but these messages were all over mine. All of them were from newly made accounts across Snapchat and Instagram. On one occasion, an account started sending me photos that I never sent to anyone. These were photos of my cat that I had saved in my Snapchat album. Just photo after photo of things I'd never sent anyone, ending with, "I have a gift for you." I deleted both apps along with deleting almost everything off my phone. A week ago, I downloaded Snapchat again due to some dumb assignment my teacher wanted us to do with the crap social media app. One of my old coworkers sent me a message, so I opened it. "Frank wants to give you your Christmas gift. Want to stop by?" Maybe I'm just overreacting, or maybe those accounts were Frank. I just want to say my personality has changed because of all this. I'm a very protective person now. I rarely talk to anyone and I'm not nearly as friendly as I was. It's only been a little over a year and I feel like I've aged 10. I just want to say, Frank, let's not meet and fuck your Christmas gift. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you do, check out the author. Most definitely check out the author for more stories. And if you have not subscribed to me and you want to see more, most definitely do that as well if you want. So yeah, until next time.